Hello! Hello, everyone. Welcome to the LIUniverse. I'm Dr. Charles Liu, your host, but I would prefer it if you would call me Chuck. It is a real pleasure to have you all today. We have two awesome guests that are going to tell us the coolest stuff about bringing the sky into our own worlds. But we're going to start, as always, by introducing our co host, Alan Liu. Alan, how's it going?
Hey, it's going pretty good.
Oh, good. Have any interesting culinary experiences recently?
Well, I recently baked some oatmeal bread thingies, which
Ooh.
with like raisins in them. So those are
Oh.
currently in existence, and I'm gonna
Ah.
have more of
Did
them
you
later.
did you use steel cut oats or rolled
I
oats?
use rolled oats.
Oh, whole wheat, like whole grains.
Yeah, well, oats, not whole oats as opposed to whole wheat, but yeah.
Right, right, whole grains. That's good. Yeah, whole grains are good for health and things like that. It tastes very good too.
Okay, cool.
Okay. On that very cheerful, happy note, I would love very much to introduce our two wonderful guests from Connecticut, Elliot Severn. Hello, Elliot.
Hello.
Yeah. And from Massachusetts, Jenny Powers. Hello, Jenny.
Hello.
Hi. I would love to have each of you tell us a little bit about what you do, what your connection is with astronomy and the universe, and then we'll go on and talk about today's joyfully cool cosmic thing.
All right. So I'm the planetarium director at Sacred Heart University's Discovery Science Center and Planetarium in
Wow.
in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Um,
Cool.
and I'm also an adjunct professor of astronomy at Sacred Heart University as well.
Oh, superb. So in the classroom as well as in the planetarium in the museum. That's spectacular. Marvelous. And Jenny, you too?
Well, I am the director of the Springfield Science Museum, which is one of the 5 museums at Springfield Museums. We have an
Wow.
astronomy hall, a planetarium, an observatory, and a brand new International Space Station exhibit.
Ooh,
Whoa. And
sounds
you
fun.
run them all. Like you're the master of the Springfield Museum universe.
Well, I am the director of the Science Museum, but I have to give a lot of credit to our curators as well.
Oh, that's very generous of you. It's very true. Welcome. I'm excited. So, two of the leading, could we dare say, like best planetarium science center in all of New England coming to us and telling us all the cool things that we have. I'm really happy to have you and psyched to talk about all kinds of great things. And now it's time for the cosmically cool, joyful thing of the day. Okay, so today's joyfully cool cosmic thing is indeed something really cosmically cool that has come down to Earth. The OSIRIS-REx mission, run by NASA, has been going around the solar system for like 7 years, and it has just dropped off its significant package. It came through the Earth's atmosphere at 27,000 miles per hour, and then it perfectly landed with a gentle thud at 10 miles per hour in the Utah desert, containing within it samples of the asteroid Bennu. So now astronomers get a chance to play with bits of the asteroid Bennu as
Exciting.
we get to figure out how the earliest parts of the solar system evolved and turned into the things that we see today. That's an amazing thing. And I think it's super cool. You guys have any connections with OSIRIS-REx or with Bennu or asteroids in what you're doing, Elliot, Jenny?
We have a fantastic meteorite collection at the museum, but that's as close as we get to an asteroid. Oh, we have dinosaurs also, but
Oh,
yeah, that's as close as we
Nice.
get.
And I have a piece of a meteorite right here.
no
This is
way. For those of you who aren't on the video,
my wedding
it is
ring.
a ring. It is a wedding ring, Elliot?
Yep. And it's made of a gibbon um, meteorite from Africa. It
Hmm.
fell back in the 1800s. Um,
Wow.
and a unique thing about this one is it actually flew into space on Blue Origin NS22.
Whoa.
And so it went back to where it came from briefly.
That's
That
cool.
is amazing. That is so cool that you have that, and you're like constantly connected subcutaneously or cutaneously to a chunk of the early solar system. I think that's really quite remarkable. Have you been to launches and things like that of various missions of all kinds?
So I've been to the launches of about 20 space missions.
Wow.
That's a
But I
lot.
was actually at the launch of OSIRIS-REx, um, which
Itself.
was, yep, which was about 7 years ago now. And so after being there and getting to see it launch, it was really special to see it actually come home.
Yeah.
That's really
I,
cool.
I can only imagine how cool it was. Um, did, do launches get into planetarium shows? Can we actually show them, for example, like in big high def movies, and you can like sit there and enjoy them in the theaters of your respective museums?
Well, we've just added a Zeiss full dome planetarium system to Seymour Planetarium, in addition to the
Oh,
existing optomechanical star ball that's there. And with
cool.
that, now we could stream it live right in the planetarium. There would be some warp to it, but we could. Our projector will mostly fix that, and so we could watch things live. That's not something we've done yet, but it's something I would love to do in the future. Elliot is one of the coolest astronomers that I've ever met, and um, getting to see it live is obviously way, 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 way more fun.
Yeah, that's even
Wow.
cooler. I heard from somewhere that the OSIRIS-REx samples landed 3 minutes early, because
Oh,
the
Really?
drogue chute to the chute that opened before the main parachute either like deployed late or didn't deploy or something.
ooh.
But the main one slowed it down all the way it needed to, so I think it
So
was
it
fine.
moved faster than it should have for an extra period of time,
Yeah,
thus
so it landed
causing the
slightly early.
scientists no small amount of angst while it was waiting
Yeah,
for the actual thing. Well, that adds a little bit of drama to the
it
situation there,
does.
doesn't
I
it?
think for the Mars sample return that is currently in development, the plan is that it doesn't need a parachute at all. Like they're hoping it will just
Whoa.
like have enough air resistance by the capsule itself to just smack in the desert without a parachute.
Wow. That would be super amazing. Um, I think that this is going to be so much fun to see what happens as it comes out. Uh, let's go, Alan,
Mhm.
to a student question. Do we have a student question for Elliot and Jenny?
Yeah, sure. So we have a couple student questions today. The first one that I'll ask is from Rochelle, who is asking, why do zodiac signs have the same names as stars?
Oh, that's interesting. Either one of you want to take that one?
Sure, I'll go for that one.
Okay.
So the signs of the zodiac are the constellations on the ecliptic, which is the path that our sun travels through the sky as Earth orbits around the sun. And a zodiac sign is just which of those constellations was the sun in on the day that you were born.
Ah,
And so that's why these zodiac signs are names of constellations. And I believe there's 13 constellations in the zodiac.
13.
Well, yeah,
I
there's
thought there
there's
were 12.
there's Ophiuchus too, right?
Yep, there's
Oh,
Ophiuchus as well.
oh.
And
It's just
each
not part of the.
constellation is a different size, and so it spends longer in some constellations and a shorter span in others. It's not exactly 1 month per constellation. Um, An interesting thing about constellation names is the Romans used the Latin names for them, and that's what we still use today.
Hmm.
Stars that are big and bright tend to have Arabic names, and
Oh,
then as we name dimmer stars in constellations, we sort of order them by brightness. And so Alpha is the brightest star in that constellation. Then it goes Beta and goes through the whole Greek alphabet after that.
wow.
So there's a lot
That's a.
of languages involved there. That's cool.
Yeah. It feels like, right, Alan, as you're saying, that it's like all humanity is united under the sky, regardless of the historical origins of our languages or our systems. We all experience the same sky for, all the history of our time. Jenny, I bet that comes up a lot in the various halls and exhibits and so forth, and even with International Space Station, right, in Springfield.
Absolutely. In fact, right as you started saying it unites humanity, it's something that really means a lot to me is when you go out and observe the night sky, you're never alone. There's always someone else looking up at that night sky, and if you need to have a moment of connection, that's a way that you can find it, even if you don't have someone you can connect to personally, and talk to at that moment. You are never alone when you're under the night sky, and that's something that enriches my life so much. And there's times we can share an experience from miles away, that way as well.
Yeah.
Elliot and
Yeah.
I do see this mostly, I think, the same things when we look up, right, Elliot? Even though I think we're 90 minutes away from each other. So we do try to help people understand that in the planetarium and in astronomy hall. One way we're trying to do that now is feature more representation from around the world in our planetarium so that people who might have never left Springfield at all can still see something from a different area of the world. We have a
Right.
Sesame Street show with characters from China who sing in Chinese, and we also have
Oh,
a wonderful show about the people of Polynesia reclaiming the ability to use the currents and stars to find their way. So
wow. That
that's
stuff's really
something that
cool.
really means a lot to me to be able to make astronomy more accessible for everybody
Yeah.
and
It's
have it have that impact because that's what
yeah.
creates the sticky memories.
Totally. It's so important, right? We as scientists, of course, almost assume that this stuff is accessible to everyone because we love it so much and it's such a part of our daily lives. But people who aren't steeped in it on a daily, hourly, minute by minute basis really benefit from these kinds of experiences, which we take for granted, don't
And
we?
making astronomy accessible is one of my top priorities at the museum because I've always said it's one of the easiest sciences to start studying because all you have to do is go out and look up. But
Yeah.
recently, I was talking to our panel of people who have low or no sight at all. So, how do you
Oh,
make astronomy accessible for people who can't go outside and look up? That's something we're working on now. We are putting together tactile astronomy exhibits. We're putting some together with sound so that more people can enjoy the same things that we know mean so much to us.
I love it. Wow. Elliot, where did your connection with astronomy first arise? I mean, you're even an astronomy professor. You're teaching astronomy classes at a university.
That's a really good question, and that goes way, way, way back to when I was a little kid. And I was 9. My grandparents got me my first telescope, um, and I didn't know how to use it. So we went to our astronomy club close by at Booth Park in Stratford, and from there I learned from the other club members. And immediately after I started looking through a telescope, it excited me so much that I wanted everyone to have that chance. And so I got involved in sidewalk astronomy, bringing telescopes to public places and just
Oh,
letting people look free of charge, and it can change your life. So that's sort of how it started. And then I got into photography, studied astronomy a little bit in college, ended up in environmental science,
ooh.
um, and then out of college found my way to the museum and found myself back in astronomy. So
Oh, fantastic. Well, environmental science is very much astronomy connected, right? We hear in the universe do not discriminate away from supposedly non-pure astronomy stuff. Astronomy adjacent stuff is part of the universe too, right? And I think that's great. Many people kind of take that path along that line, not just straight up into the universe, but through the environment, through the earth, through the sky, through those kinds of things. And the sidewalk astronomy thing sounds so awesome. They're famous people who have done this, and they've created their own telescopes and done this sorts of thing. And even every once in a while, recently, you hear in the news story somebody in some deep metropolitan area, like Brooklyn, New York, or something, stops traffic for half an hour with the telescope as they're looking at something out in space. That's so cool. You got to do that. Did you build your own telescopes? Did you create things? I mean, did you talk to like any of these famous folks in the fact that you were famous yourself?
I did have the privilege of knowing John Dobson, inventor
Oh,
of the Dobsonian telescope, um,
yes.
which I think is the best kind of telescope to start out on because there's no electronics. It doesn't even have a tripod. It just sits on the ground like a cannon, and you just push it to where you want to aim it and let go, and it balances.
Do we have a Dobsonian in the background of the shot still? Yeah,
You mean
there.
that?
Yeah, that's that thing.
That little one,
That
that's a
guy.
little Dobsonian.
The
Yes, a
little
little
tiny
tiny
Dobsonian. Yeah.
Dobsonian. Yep, it's there.
But what's great about it is to use one, you have to learn the sky and where different objects are.
Ah,
Um, and you also only have to pay for the glass in that telescope. There's no electronics, there's nothing that adds to the cost of it. And if you get the optics, you can even build them at home pretty inexpensively with them.
awesome.
So it's a great way to access this amazing hobby.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. Jenny, how about you? Did you also come to astronomy through other things over a long period of time, or did you come straight into it like I did way back in the day?
Well, I had to be in the right place at the right time. So it took me a little while to get there. Um,
Ah,
Basically, I had to go start working at the museum. And
hmm,
so I had done a lot of different education jobs. I went into the museum's education department.
hmm.
Eventually, I became the family engagement coordinator, and I was the person who got to run all the different programs for families at the museum, which was a super fun job.
Oh,
And through that, I got to know someone better. Richard Sanderson, he's my astronomy mentor. He was the
oh,
person who was curator of physical science at the museum at that time.
hmm, hmm.
And he is so good at sharing his passion for astronomy that I just became extremely interested just from his enthusiasm and got to know our planetarium better. One of their instructors from the planetarium invited me to attend a program we call Stars Over Springfield for the
Ooh,
first time. And as my knowledge of astronomy grew, so did my love of it. And I actually fell in love with planetariums before I fell in love with the subject of astronomy because
hmm.
I just love optomechanical planetarium projectors. It's one of the nerdiest things about me. I feel like when I say that, only Elliot understands. But it's just such an interesting thing. And every planetarium that you go to is different, and they each have their own unique features, and they often have these really interesting stories about them, especially the really old ones. So you get some history, you get some science. It's this wonderful experience. You get to meet at the best planetariums, you get to meet the instructors and have awesome conversations. And so given that our planetarium I think is actually one of the most interesting, I
Mm,
fell in love with that one
Nice.
first, and then I just fell in love and with everything about it. And one
wow.
day, I was talking to my husband, and he said something about me loving astronomy, and I said, "Oh, I don't love astronomy. I just love planetariums." And he said, "Listen to
That
yourself."
doesn't. That's so interesting. It's like, yeah, I don't love the sky. I just love the sky.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it,
Yeah, right.
yeah, pretty much.
Just love
It,
the fake indoor sky, not
Yeah.
the actual sky.
But now
I love it.
I got to be boss of the planetarium, which is pretty cool
Yeah,
on top of that.
yeah.
So
No, that's great. How do you feel about either the oldest or the newest technology in seeing the universe, or either in your planetarium domes or elsewhere? Jenny's talking about now technology obviating the need to go to a planetarium, although it's still really fun and
no,
great.
that's not what I
Uh,
said. You still need to go
oh,
to the planetarium.
well,
Chuck,
yeah.
my
I
goodness gracious.
let me not cast any aspersions. Everyone, go to planetariums.
You
It's
should
like
go
the
to the
difference
planetarium.
between looking at your phone and going out into the sky. I mean,
Yeah,
it's really
it
true.
is.
But so that technology has advanced quite a bit, Jenny. What you're saying is that you can access this technology even more. You were mentioning an optoelectronic star ball projector system. And Elliot, what do you guys have in Connecticut?
Yeah, so we until recently had a Spitz 512 optical mechanical star projector, which are really cool pieces of engineering. Um, there are these tiny plates with little holes in them for each star and lenses, which bring those into sharp focus on the dome. And there are all sorts of gears and mechanical devices to make stars and planets move at the correct rates over time. They're really impressive. And our first one was a Godo Mark One, um,
Whoa.
which is from Japan. And I recently learned that ours in 1958 was the first one ever installed in any planetarium in the world. Um,
Whoa.
but Jenny's planetarium has, I believe, one of the oldest star projectors in the country, right?
It's the oldest American made planetarium projector actually in the world.
Whoa.
There
Wow.
was one American made planetarium projector before this one, but it's been scrapped long ago. We don't have it, it's not operational. The pieces are scattered. So ours is now the oldest. It was locally made when during the Depression, the museum couldn't afford a Zeiss that it
Mm.
wanted. So one of the museum technicians, Frank Corcus, and his brother John built a star ball. So ours is really unique because it's the only one. We have the blueprints. I guess technically we could build a second, but the local community came together to build it. It was machined at local machine shops. Different trade
Wow.
schools had parts in building it. So it's a
Whoa.
real community project. And 85 years later, it's still working. That's something we're very excited about. And
That's
Wow.
so
awesome.
we do have that in the middle of under our dome, just like we did originally in 1937. And then this year we added the two digital projectors, the Zeiss Velvet system.
Mhm.
To my knowledge, we are the only planetarium to have its original projector still under the dome with a modern updated projector. Some other museums do have optomechanical projectors in the center of their dome, but they're not their original ones. And so we
Interesting.
Interesting.
feel very cool. You probably can tell that many of us in Springfield are history lovers as well as astronomy
Nice,
lovers.
nice.
And this
For
is a big
sure.
source of pride for us because it is
Yeah.
really, I mean, when you look at it and you see the design, it's unique, it's different, and it's a really, to us, a great example of American innovation and ingenuity.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. Elliot, hopefully you guys down in Connecticut have technology at least as impressive as this amalgam of old and new in Springfield.
Yeah, so we both upgraded to digital planetariums around the same time. We did our upgrade in 2019,
Hmm.
and now we have a digital sky. We have a 4K laser projection system,
Dang.
um, running on Digistar 7, from a company called Cosm. And what a digital planetarium enables us to do is not only see our sky as viewed from Earth, but you can turn our planetarium into a starship, and we can
Ha!
fly anywhere in the known universe, and we can fly anywhere in space and time. And
Ooh.
it almost turns the planetarium. If you've ever used a virtual reality headset,
Yeah.
it's almost like taking that personal experience of VR and expanding it into a whole room with a bunch of people in it. And it's almost like a
Wow.
shared virtual reality experience.
Oh,
That's really
Um,
wow.
cool.
That is so neat. It can literally take you boldly go where no one has gone before.
you can go to other planets. We can go to their moons. We can go to asteroids and comets. We can go to other star
Ah.
systems. We can go to other galaxies.
So let me just say that you're saying that you are as good as the Starship Enterprise in a way.
We can go faster than the Starship Enterprise.
Oh
Uh,
man.
we have an unlimited warp factor in our planetarium.
Nice.
And what is incredible about it is, as new data becomes available, as there are new sky surveys, new space telescopes, new planetary missions, as soon as that data is publicly available, we can show it on our dome
Wow.
instantly.
So
And
you
to have
have
that ability is incredible.
You have new data coming in instantaneously. You have infinite warp factor. Can you do the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs?
Uh,
Hmm? Hmm?
we can do it in a
Are
couple
you
of
better
ways.
than Star Wars? Is Star Trek better than Star Wars? Huh? Huh? Come on. Come
I
on.
bet
Bring
you
it on.
don't have
Bring
a
it on.
Wookiee as your co-pilot over there.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. All
We have a
right.
Vulcan.
Whoa, we have a Vulcan. Oh, that's not so bad. Okay, so Jenny, I can tell by that comment that you are in the Star Wars camp. Elliot, you are clearly in the Star Trek camp. So, uh, those of you who don't have the video, we just saw the piece of asteroid in a live long and prosper symbol just now. I love it. Okay, all right. You each get 30 seconds to explain why Star Trek is better than Star Wars or the other way around. Elliot, go.
Oh, geez. Okay, so Star Trek, I think, is so it's in the future. In a, I like to think about the future. It's not in a galaxy long ago, far, far away. Um, it's a very optimistic view of the future where we are trying to spread peace throughout the galaxy, even when other civilizations don't want to be peaceful. We are attempting to spread peace throughout the galaxy. Um, and they are on a mission of exploration for scientific knowledge and to further our understanding. Star Wars, I love. It's really fun, but it's kind of World War II in space.
Dang. Oh, them's fighting words. Okay. Jenny, you get the counterpoint.
2 words, Darth Vader. That's it.
Ah,
That's all you need. Lightsabers, come on, Elliot. The high-speed chases around the Death Star and then stuff blowing up with all that passion and excitement. I love Star Trek. I really do. I watched it every Sunday with my dad, but Star Wars is where the heart is. That's been me all week with COVID.
Okay. We should lean back a little bit before it gets too crazy.
That's
I'm
probably
just doing
clipping.
in a big way. In a big way. All right. How about the dilithium crystals, huh? Huh? How about the dilithium crystals?
Uh,
How about this? Dilithium crystals or midichlorians? Huh? Dilithium
Sometimes you just
crystals
got to
or
make
midichlorians?
stuff up.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, or
Yeah.
the mycelium one from the new Star Trek that I
Oh,
need to
that's
watch
right.
still.
They
My
The
travel as
mycelial network.
they travel like they're mushrooms or something.
my staff
Are either
my staff is always telling me that Star Wars is a movie about a cult who's trying to overthrow the government and that Star Trek is real science. And I'm like, guys, come on. Come on now.
Star Trek has a lot of things going for it, but being real science is not one of them.
No.
that is so funny. But how are those new Star Trek series in your opinion? Elliot, are you watching those? Some of
Oh,
the stuff that's coming right now?
this is a really exciting time if you're into Trek.
No kidding.
Because we've got Discovery going on, which I haven't paid attention to since they jumped into the future. Um,
Okay.
we've got Strange New Worlds with Captain Pike, which is just awesome. But I
Wow.
love about that is it's back to the single episode format. There are some
Oh.
longer story arcs, but that's not the main focus. And if you jump into it and watch one episode, it's not critical that you watched every prior episode in the series. You can
Oh,
just watch one
good.
episode and take it for what it is. And I
Oh,
love
good.
that about it. We've got Lower Decks out,
Ah,
which is the
the
animated
animated one.
comedy series.
Yeah.
Um, which is hilarious. But what's amazing about it is they're keeping it canon. And
Oh.
in some of the other series now, they're having some of the Lower Decks animated characters actually show up in live action.
Oh my gosh. That
That's cool.
is that's mind blowing. I love that idea. Okay, so Jenny, how is Mandalorian going to compete with that, huh?
I don't know. I have a son in college who does not always have time to catch up on our shows together. And so, sadly, I haven't watched anything since the end of season 2. I know there's really good stuff coming, and I can't wait to see it, but I got to wait till the kid and I can watch it together.
Okay, we will
It's
reserve
a nice way
judgment
of
until
doing
that next
things.
point. That's very nice. Yeah. Wow. The time has flown by. We could go on for a huge amount of time. I really can tell. But please, will the two of you come back for a future episode sometime? We'll talk more about like old tech, new tech, high tech, fake tech. It's just great stuff. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
How can we find out what you're doing, what your science centers are doing, the kinds of neat things that are happening, any new cool launches and materials that you guys are going to be putting into your shows or to your dome? Let us know. Elliot, Jenny, how can we contact you?
Well, you can find me all the time at Springfield Museums. So if you go to springfieldmuseums.org, that's our website. But I am often quoted or featured across our social media channels, thank goodness. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And so you can always catch up on what the Science Museum is doing those ways.
And you can follow us, the SHU Discovery Science Center and Planetarium, on most social media platforms. We are very active on Facebook. And if you want to see our website, it's shudiscovery.org. And if you show up to our Science Center on a weekday or on an event day, you'll probably see me there. So say hi if you come by.
That's
so
totally
nice.
awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. That's so nice. Yeah, both of you. I think this is great. And the two of you clearly collaborate together so well. It's just this sort of planetarium axis of awesomeness running from Springfield down into Connecticut. I think that's just marvelous.
I think nerds clump. We clump together.
So do
Even if you're on the
galaxies.
other sides
What a
of
coincidence.
the star debates.
That's right. And stars and galaxies clump too.
Mhm.
Connection perhaps. Anyway,
It's sort of a social accretion.
there you
Yeah.
go. There you
Like
go.
an accretion
Elliot,
disk of nerds.
Jenny, Elliot Severn, and Jenny Powers, planetarium directors, museum directors, astronomers. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alan Liu, thank you so much as always. Really appreciate it. Go for that awesome culinary cooking experiences. All right.
Yeah,
Remember those rolled oats. They're really good for you. They're good for your heart.
Yeah, well, glad to be here as usual.
Yeah, good for your heart. Kind of like beans.
Okay, we're not going to go down that.
I mean, the more you eat,
Just wrap
the
up the
better your
podcast.
heart. The more you eat, the better your heart is, right? I mean, it's great.
We're gonna
And for all the rest of you, thank you all so much for being part of us today. If you like what you see and hear, please support us on Patreon. And as always, thank you for being a part of the LIUniverse.